So before we get to today's video, I want to talk about my last video for a bit. My friend Michael Frazier deserves all the credit for making that video. All I did was run. He is so much better at this kind of stuff than I am. So if you liked that video, please do me a favor and go check out his Instagram at MAFportfolio. As far as the workout goes for that video, I did a 6-mile lactate threshold run, and obviously it was snowing. The wind chill was -5 degrees, and it was a really hilly route, and I still averaged 5:29 per mile over the course of the 6 miles. So pace-wise, that was very typical of what I normally do for lactate threshold runs, but given the conditions, I think that makes it one of my most impressive lactate threshold runs ever. So I think I'm in pretty good shape right now. So that's all I wanted to say about that. I'm back in Pittsburgh, Kansas for the next 2 weeks before the Houston Half Marathon, and today I'm headed south of Pittsburgh for my long run. So I'll see you out there. So I made it to the side of my long run. I'm just gonna talk in the car here because it's pretty windy outside, so I'm gonna avoid that unnecessary noise. Right now I'm 16 days out from Houston, and today I've got planned my biggest and most important long run of this entire training cycle. So I'm running 18 miles today, and I've got a 6-mile rectangle on some mile section roads south of Pittsburgh. I like the mile section roads down here because they have some good hills. Some of you might be wondering why I'm training on hills so much if Houston's such a flat course. And basically I just like training on hills. So most of this long run is going to be at a moderate pace, just like I have been doing for a long time, so roughly 6 flat pace, give or take a little bit. But what's going to be different about this long run is that I'm going to throw in 3 hard miles on each loop. So like I said, there are some good hills out here, but I've got a mile planned on it that is going to be almost completely flat, and that's where the hard mile will be each loop. So I'm starting from a position to where the hard mile will be on miles 4, 10, and 16. If you ask me what the science behind this workout is, I don't really know. It just sounded like a fun and challenging workout to do. I like to put most of my hardest training 2 to 3 weeks out from my peak, so this is certainly part of that. I really need to get started on this run though, or else I'm gonna run out of daylight. Look at that southeast Kansas sky that I got to finish my run into. So I kind of crushed that long run a little bit and it felt really good. It's getting dark and pretty cold right now though, so I need to head back to town and get in my strengthening routine, and then I'll talk about the run. So just to recap that run real quick, obviously it went really well. I'll post a picture here for a couple seconds that details the run pretty thoroughly, so just pause that if you want to look that over. I guess the main thing is that I was pretty nervous at miles 2 and 3 because running 5:40 pace that early on in an 18-miler, got a long ways to go still. I really tried to dial back mile 3 after seeing mile 2, but I guess that's just what felt comfortable and that's what felt like a moderate pace to me. I intentionally dialed back the second loop just a tad so that I made sure I had something left for the third loop. On the third loop, I kind of just shut my mind off and made sure I was maintaining that moderate effort. Miles 16 and 17 were definitely the toughest miles of the entire run. Generally the mile after the hard mile every time was pretty tough because it was really hard going uphill at a moderate pace right after doing a hard mile. But it all worked out and it was a great run. I've actually done an 18-miler from a couple falls ago at 5:40 pace, so this isn't quite my fastest long run, but it's pretty close. From that 18-miler a couple falls ago, That was on a really flat trail, and that was pretty much like a race effort. Today's run was through some pretty big hills, and I can honestly say that that was mostly a moderate effort. Even mile 18 felt pretty moderate after I was able to recover a little bit after the uphill after the hard mile 16. So that is what I would consider the completion of any difficult high volume work before Houston. So as I said earlier, this was my last difficult long run. Next weekend I'll probably do 14 miles, and that will be my longest run between now and Houston. I'm not quite done with the intense work yet because next Tuesday I've got an important VO2 max track session planned. As of right now on Friday, I've put in 82 miles through 5 days this week, so that leaves me with only 8 miles tomorrow to hit my goal of 90 in 6 days. So I will really be able to super compensate and recover this weekend from lots of hard training with 8 miles tomorrow and a day off on Sunday. So that's all I've got. See you next time.